Reaction to the budget has been swift, and in the case of Toronto's deputy mayor, scathing. Jennifer McKelvey says the 2023 federal budget fails to address the city's request for operating budget support. No money promised to Canada's largest city to help offset its so-called COVID-19 hangover. Toronto had requested an immediate $235 million for outstanding 2022 COVID shortfalls to match the provincial government's commitment. Hundreds of millions are also needed to help offset the city's nearly $1 billion COVID shortfall in its own 2023 spending plan. The onus is now on Toronto to close that fiscal gap.
There's really only two ways that you close a budget gap of that size. Either you raise additional revenues or you cut costs, and both of those are unpalatable options.
Last week's provincial budget committed $48 million to help cover supportive housing costs, but, like the feds, failed to provide any other significant funding. Toronto also asked Ottawa to help cover costs for shelter and supports for refugees and newcomers, to no avail. As a result, Professor Mackey says the most notable implications have been and will continue to be on public transit, with fare increases and reduced service.
The other area is tax increases. Toronto has been, the typical mantra in Toronto has been tax increases at or below the rate of inflation. Inflation is significantly up right now, and so we might start to see taxes going up quite substantially too.
Much of the city's budget shortfall is specifically thanks to TTC funding and unprecedented homeless supports during the pandemic, according to Deputy Mayor McKelvey, who says in a statement in part, "While I am thankful for past support during the COVID-19 pandemic from the Government of Canada, I'm disappointed the Deputy Prime Minister, a Toronto MP, would ignore a direct commitment the federal Liberals made during the last election to former Mayor John Tory and the City of Toronto." McKelvey also says the ongoing financial challenges demonstrate the need for a new fiscal framework for Toronto, and she's committed to having those conversations with provincial and federal governments. On Dundas Street West, Michelle Mackey, City News.